Hello everyone, you are welcome to today's class. Don't forget that today is the week 6 of our design training, and in today's training we are going to talk about print design plus real client work. So this training is not only going to talk about how you can be able to design, how you can be able to create, but also how you can be able to relate with clients when you meet clients, and then how you can be able to print your design, the output of your design, so that you can be able to give it to your clients. So in today's class, the topics we are going to cover, the first one is we are going to talk about designing for prints, banners, posters, flex, how you can be able to design for printing, and then the color modes. What are the color modes we have? The RGB versus the CMYK, and then we are going to talk about working with printers in Nigeria. How can you be able to work with a printer in Nigeria? So these are the topics we are going to cover. But before we dive in, I believe each and every one of you here has practiced designing a logo, brand identity, which is what we cover in our last class. We talk about logos design, we talk about building a brand identity, building a brand that speaks. So I believe each and every one of you have done that. Is that right? That's great. So in today's class you will learn a lot on how you can be able to relate with printers. So designing for print. When we talk about designing for print, we have things that has to do with banners, posters, flex. But before then, what is print design? What do you understand by print design? When we talk about print design refers to creating visuals that will be physically printed and displayed. There are two things involved here: physically printed and then display. That is what print design is. You create a visual that it's going to be physically printed and then it's going to be displayed. So unlike social media designs, a print design is large scale. When we talk about large scale, it's very big, and then it has high resolution. The resolution is very, very high, and then physical produced. So in a social media design, you design so that you can be able to post on social media. Don't forget that we said you don't have to put a lot of text. It doesn't have to be crowded. You just have to be simple. And then whenever you are doing a print design, it's very large and it contains a very high quality, a high resolution while you are doing a print design. So common print design materials in Nigeria. Number one here we have is banners. How many of you have come across banner before? Okay, behind me here is what we call a banner. This is a Haxat banner, which we use as a wardrobe banner. So many printers, many organizations, many companies, many businesses use banners. You can be able to use banner for events. You can be able to use banner for different programs. A program that has to do with a business opening, there is an opening of a program, a business, you can be able to use a banner just like the one behind me so that we can have a stage talk on it. And then we can be able to use a large outdoor display using banner. So this banner helps people to have a very large display of their works. And then we have posters. Posters like the smaller is smaller than banner. Yeah, when we talk about poster, a poster it's smaller than banner, and then it's mostly used for announcements. Whenever you want to announce, you can be able to use a poster, design a poster, and you can be able to announce. And then we have a flex design printed on vinyl material. That's what we call a vinyl material, which is very common here in Nigeria. Whenever people want to do an event, they usually print a flex banner, a flex design for them to do their activities. So the key difference here is that in social media is a digital screen design, and then a print design has to do with physical outputs. So these are the common print materials we have in Nigeria. Hope you are getting me. So, and then print design goals. What are the goals behind a print design? Number one here is it has to be readable from a distance. Whenever people print a design, one of their aim is, most especially whenever you see very big billboard banners and so on, one of the aim is that they want it to be readable from a distance, and then they want it to be bold and clear message. It has to be bold and has to pass a clear message. It has a high contrast and then a simple layout. That is the goal of having a print design. And the second one here is the color modes. The color modes. We have two color modes, the RGB versus the CMYK. What is a color mode? Before we talk about the RGB and CMYK, let's dive in to knowing and understanding what a color mode is. A color mode defines how colors are displayed on screen or print. Whenever you design with two color modes. It's either you are designing with the RGB, that's the red, green and blue, or you are designing with the CMYK color modes, which is the cyan, magenta, yellow and black. So these two color modes, it shows how your design will be displayed on your screen. So if you go into CorelDRAW, try using CMYK to design and then try using RGB to design. Even the output, you can see a little differences of the colors. So the RGB, that's the red, green and blue. It is used for phones, computers, social media design, and this is how it works. It light-based colors, bright and vibrant. This is the RGB color. While the CMYK, the cyan, magenta, yellow, black, it's mostly used for printing, banners, flyers. So now, this to tell you that if you want to design and you want it to be printed, banner, flyer, use the CMYK, which is an ink-based color and is slightly duller than screen color, which whenever it's being printed out is going to be very good to look in the standard of the eyes. So the important rule here is that always design print work in CMYK mode to avoid color mismatch. You can be able to have a color of a brand and then you end up using an RGB to design, and after the output you can be able to see some mismatch of the colors. You use a CMYK so that you can have a very ink-based color. And the common mistakes most of designers, I should say here in Nigeria, make is that designers create in RGB, print come out dull or wrong color. So you design in RGB, the print will come out very dull because of in your eyes on the screen it's very bright and it's very light, but once it's been printed out you see it very dull. But when you design in CMYK, although in the screen it doesn't suit the screen, but once it's been printed out it gives a very wow color. So these are the common mistakes usually designers make in Nigeria. So the third thing is we are going to talk about working with printers in Nigeria. How can you work with a printer in Nigeria? But first of all, who is a printer? Who is a printer? So a printer is a person or shop, yes, that produce physical designs like banners, flyers and posters. So a printer now, I can be able to identify a person as a printer, a shop as a printer that produces physical designs just like banners, flyers and posters. This is who a printer is. So what printers expect from designers? So in you being a creative, you being a designer, there is what a printer is expecting from you. Number one, take it down. A printer is expecting a correct file format. It's either PDF, that's the best option. If you want to print, you can be able to send him PDF or high quality JPEG or PNG formats. And then proper resolution, minimum 300 dpi. If you are given a printer to print your design, it is expected as a designer to give a minimum of 300 resolution dpi image. And then you should avoid blurry images. There are some images that you can be able to use for design which are not of high quality, are full of blur, and then after it's been printed out, you'll be like, oh my god, this is how my design is. It's because of you don't use a high quality image. So it's very important for you to use a high quality image in your design. And then use a correct color mode. And what do we say our color mode is for printing? Yeah, the CMYK. So you should use a correct color mode for printing. Use the CMYK. Nice. And then you should use a clear communication. Size of banner, material type, is it flex, is it paper, is it vinyl? Make sure you communicate clearly. That's what the printer wants. And then give a deadline. You can tell a printer, when you go to a printer shop, there are a lot of designs, there are a lot of works, and then you might need your design with, let's say, very urgent, tomorrow it's been needed. You can give him a deadline, say if you can be able to get it printed out within the next 5 or 6 hours, since the day is going to break within some minutes. So you can be able to give a deadline so that the printer can be able to finish your work within that situated deadline. So how to work with printers? The first step for you to work with a printer is that you should ask requirements. What is the requirements a printer needs? Size, material, deadline. These three requirements are very, very important. And the step 2, design correctly. Use CMYK mode. Yes, if you are designing, you should design correctly by using the CMYK mode because of you want to print it, and maintain proper spacing. Proper spacing is very, very important. So make sure you maintain proper spacing. And then the step 3 is that you should export properly. When you are designing, you want to send it to a printer to print your design. Make sure you export properly, and I give you an example. You can export in PDF, which it's high quality, and then it doesn't have no compression. You don't need to compress your design. So export properly. And the step 4 is that you should send file, WhatsApp or USB. You can be able to send the file to the printer through WhatsApp platform or through the USB, the universal serial box. And then the last thing, you should confirm receipts. Common errors that we usually make is that we have wrong file size. When you're sending a designer, let's say a banner to print, and then you give him a wrong file size, at the end of the day you'll be like, oh my god, this is not what I ordered and this is what I got. So make sure you have a very accurate file size and low resolution images, which is an error we get. RGB instead of CMYK, getting a different color output instead of the one that will match your brand identity. And then poor communication. Poor communication is as a result of you not talking clearly together with the printer so that he can be able to understand you and he can be able to print what you want. So make sure you have a very good and sound communication together with the printer. CorelDRAW print skills. So now we are going to learn how you can be able to use CorelDRAW to print the skills you need as a student to print in CorelDRAW. Hope you are understanding. That's nice. So the first one is the bleed setting. If you are designing the place we call the bleed setting on a flyer is that you can see a flyer, and then at the edge of the flyer you see text. You see the text it's very broad up to the edge, which it doesn't have a bleed setting. Whenever it's been taken to be cut so that it will look nice and good, you see the text there are going to be cut off. Why? Because of it doesn't have a bleed setting. It doesn't have a proper alignment, a proper spacing, a proper arrangement in the design. So you should put extra space outside design and then prevent cutting errors. And number 2, margins. Safe area for text. You can be able to put margin. You are designing a flyer, designing a banner, put margin so that you can be able to have a safe area that you place your text and then keep important content visible. And the third thing is that you should export file in PDF, that's the print ready, PNG, digital preview, high resolution export. You can be able to export file in these 3 methods. And the fourth thing is that you should have a high resolution output, 300 dpi minimum, prevents pixelation. So this is the high resolution output that a CorelDRAW print skills you need to have. So we are going to go into another practical task. If you are joining us, make sure you are practicing and you are practicing and you are practicing. And here what you are going to practice is you are going to create a print ready banner design in CorelDRAW. The requirement here is event or business banner, proper CMYK color mode, high resolution images, clear headline, contact details, proper spacing and alignment. These are the requirements, and the submission format is PDF, JPEG, preview. So you submit in both formats, both PDF and also JPEG, for a very good verification. So there is this client that you will meet. Let's say you are facing clients, and there are clients that you can be able to meet, which those clients, they will tell you, oh, I need a simple design. You being a creative, they'll say, I need a simple design. I want my design to be simple. Create a simple event flyer. Don't put a lot of this, don't put a lot of that. And then you create a simple design, you send it to him, and then the client will be like, okay, why don't you add or tweak the text a little bit, add a lightning there, and then you add it, and the design, the client will also be like, why don't you add other shapes here and there. So at the end of the day, you'll be like, oh, what does the definition of simplicity means? Yeah, so you meet a lot of clients like that. So at the end of this program, what I want you to do is you're going to learn what design is. That's the simple explanation of what design is, the difference between RGB and CMYK, and then type of print material in Nigeria, and how to work with printers professionally. Don't forget about the clients I told you earlier. So how can you work with printers professionally, and then how to prepare print ready files in CorelDRAW. And the last thing is the importance of resolution and file format. So this comes to the end of our week 6 training on print design. So I hope you enjoy the class, and I would love to see you all in our week 7, which we are going to learn deeper on how we can be able to showcase our designs into the world, so that each and many people will see us, what we create and what we do. So thank you for joining us, and I wish you all the best and good luck. See you next time. Bye.